States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call. Mr. D'Amelio. Here. Mrs. Lewis.
Here.
Mrs. Routson.
Here.
Mr. Traver.
Here.
And Mr. Trainer.
Here.
Thank you. All right, first item for this evening is the approval of the agenda for this evening's meeting. Any additions, subtractions, anything else? Mr. Ferguson.
Yes, on page 12, numbers 15 through 18 there, top section. And believe it or not, that is all.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yep.
Mrs. Lewis.
Yes.
Mrs. Routson.
Yes.
Mr. Traver.
Yes.
And Mr. Trainer.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, next item are the approval of the minutes from the February 15th, 2022 regular meeting. Draft copy was sent out for those right at that meeting, and I don't believe there's been any changes since. Any questions on them?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Yes.
Mrs. Robinson.
Yes.
Mr. Traver.
Yes.
And Mr. Trainer.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Mike, do you have any recognition?
Yeah, I do, and unfortunately she's not here tonight, but I want to recognize Christine Danoff. She was nominated earlier this year for what's called it's PAE MST Award. So basically it stands for Presidential Award for Excellence in Mathematics and Science Teaching. And this is an award it's a national award, but it starts at the state level. And they have a chance to move up. She just emailed me yesterday. She is now a finalist, a state finalist for this award, this national award. So that the outcome of this won't be until summer. They said they're behind because of COVID, but nonetheless, just a great, it's great that she's being recognized. I mean, we already know what a great value she is to the district and what a great job she does. She's taken that position that, a technology coaching position and just made it 10 times worth it's what it was when it started. And that was kind of my direction towards, make this a legitimate position, and she's gone way above and beyond that. And, and she's finally getting the recognition. She was nominated here locally, and then, now they recognize what she's done at a state level as one of the finalists. And regardless of how where it goes from here, she's just done a great job. Great recognition for her in the district as well. So.
Awesome.
That's what I got.
I also recognize our FFA teacher, just amazing award and event the other day. I apologize I wasn't there. I was in Michigan for work, but just super to see you get recognized that way in the program. You came in at a low point in our ag program, and you've taken it to new heights that we couldn't ever imagine. So a lot of great gratitude from the board for that. So congratulations. All right, so we'll hear from our staff. Brenda's not here. We'll start with Amy.
Okay, great. Just a few updates from the elementary. Third quarter ends Friday. Can't believe we're already there. So the grading window will close the 28th. March 30th and 31st, we're doing ELA testing for third grade, and then it's just going to continue. I can defer to Cody for more information on testing, but just getting started with that again. In regard to teacher evaluations, we just finished, Brenda and I just finished our first, everyone going through a full cycle of evaluations. Those are completed, and we're working on our walkthroughs. They will all be done by April 15th. This Thursday, we have a second grade music concert, so that should be fantastic. All are welcome. We'd love to see you. 7 o'clock.
Thursday?
Yes. And today we just finished the Sylvan testing for all of the third grade students. We had the 15 students who were in that program, so we just wrapped that up today as well. I know, I just talked to her. So we will have results coming.
I also have tutors, I want to know how the kids.
Yes, so she's gonna send that all over to us. We'll be able to compare like the first data points and where they're now. So.
Awesome. Gavin?
Couple of repetitive things, yeah, we're winding up third quarter as well, as like the whole district is. And then our testing starts in early April, so it'll be about 3 weeks of real craziness, but it's all good. Teachers are geared up for that, and they do very well. Good job, and thanks to Cody for getting us prepared there. And then we're planning some year-end activities for the fourth quarter to keep the kids excited and try to reward them for doing good things. And just like to recognize our entire staff. It's it's been a rough year with a lot of I call them punches we take and keep ducking, and one comes the other way. And health, death, COVID. Just some difficult circumstances, but our staff has really stepped up, and I'm kind of an old school, tough it out guy, but really realize how important social and emotional health is. So trying to get everyone to step back and realize what's important. And obviously school is, but your family and your own health, so we making a push for that. So that's it.
Thank you. Any questions for? I didn't ask for Amy or Mr. Ferguson, high school.
Yes, so likewise, rounding out the end of the third quarter here. In the next few weeks here, we've got it's April 1st. We have a career day set up for our kids at the high school. From 10 to 2 p.m. they will be engaged in various things. So we have, at this point, 44 different businesses that are coming to the career day to set up. And they've been brought in with the understanding this is not only about promoting a career, but it's also potentially promoting your business for, in case they've got businesses there that are looking to hire, whether it's kids right out of college, or it's kids for the summer, part-time help. So there's quite a few businesses that are coming in for that. Bill Fisher's been working with the GAC, getting that put together. So they will be rotating through the gym where there's 2 sides. There'll be 22 businesses on either side of the gym. There's a motivational speaker, and there's also a financial speaker that's coming in. So they'll be working through that whole process in the course of the time between 10 and 2 o'clock, including lunch. Of course, they got to get lunch. But so we're looking forward to that. I think it's always a great opportunity for kids to see what is out there, and that's one of our major goals is to, we talk about our mission statement, empower our kids to be future ready. And that's what our job is, to give them the opportunity so they see what the options are for them when they get out.
I think the last one we did was like the week before the shutdown, if I'm not mistaken.
It might have been, yeah.
I know we included Woodmore schools in that. Are we doing that this year, or is that possible?
No, we're pretty. Since we're standing it to everybody, and we've included the the whole rotation there, the other options for our kids, opportunities for our kids. Then it's going to be pretty packed. So.
I participate each year, and last year was all virtual.
Yeah.
So they did it last year.
Yeah. So that's still looking for a second shift custodian at the high school. It's been out on Highlands Jobs. It was one of the ones I put out on School Messenger in terms of our needs. Just not having any luck with that. Thankfully, I have a sub who's taking care of business for now. So
is that normal, or is it?
It's always been a struggle to find that second shift. It hasn't been this much of a struggle for this long a period of time, but. And then we are high school principal search. That search posting ends tomorrow. Have a committee at the high school that will be taking part in interviewing them, and have at this point 12 applicants. So we'll see how that, hopefully, we get a great person for that position for next year, and so looking forward to finding a great person in that position.
Who's on the committee?
I have, I don't know if I can name them all off the top of my head here, so I have my office staff, Susie, and Rhea, our guidance counselor, Brett Strickland, Courtney Cannon, Holly Shapilia, and
Elkins, huh?
yeah, I think that's it at the moment. Not off the top of my head, sorry. So,
And I'm just curious, how's that person in selected, final candidate?
how?
I mean,
Well,
who makes the final decision? How's that work?
Well, the committee will make the final decision on that. So, I mean, it'll go through however many candidates we decide to bring in. If we bring in 6 to 8 candidates, we'll go through a first round with them and then narrow it down. And, you know, hopefully we have at least the final 2 to bring together, and then the committee will hopefully make that decision.
So you do one round of interviews or two?
Second round, there'll be one round to narrow it down, hopefully to 2.
Okay.
And then a second round for the final 2.
Okay, but the entire search committee for the second interview, or?
At this point, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. That's what I got.
Cody?
A couple of things. Obviously, we've mentioned testing a few different times. Starts next week, and then April. I mean, it is the whole month of April. There are a couple of weeks that are pretty intense throughout the district where there's a huge chunk, I don't want to put a percentage, but more than 50% of our students are testing in some capacity in that week. There's 2 weeks like that. That's pretty intense. The first full week of April, that's our ELA week, and it's just going to keep going from there. So that's up and running. We had our BLT on Monday. It's the second 2-hour delay BLT we've had. Not conventional, but it's a strategy we're using to modify our current climate, which is our summer shortage. And it's obviously not the ideal way we want to run a BLT, DLT, and that's essentially our leadership teams of each building. And we have not had the ability to get together as a district. And so how we're utilizing that is that each team input information in a working document, and then our administrators are going to take a look at that document tomorrow. Actually, no, I had a meeting to look to see if we see any trends or overlap, and then make some adjustments from there. So it was a good time to discuss things from a district perspective and then things from a building perspective. And I was overall happy with the way that the events played out for that day. Our non-BLT individuals had some additional activities for them to do as well to prepare them for testing. And also we took a look at some of our one of our core values. We'll be finishing that up here soon. I know that they'll be excited to stop hearing from that. So an extended learning update with Sylvan finishing up. Our high school math, actually, we've decided to finish that up as well, simply because our student participation had dwindled a little bit. Sun's starting to come out, spring sports are really starting to pick back up. We took a look at the 2 weeks before break to kind of see if we would see an uptick, and we just didn't. So we just decided that we're going to take a look at that for next year again. Maybe reorganize it a bit. I like the format of Sylvan, which was more like a blitz, a 3 or 4 week blitz, then a break, and maybe another 3 or 4 week. You might increase that participation for that time period, and then so it's not so overbearing for students that weekly. It was interesting though. I think it was a good strategy and good use for what we wanted it to be used for. For me, the last thing is a shout out to 3 individuals over in the elementary, which is Ashley Delp, Kristen Hange, and Lauren Schober. They each were awarded 2 separate grants. They've been working really hard on their CALP training, which is a certification for the future dyslexia bill, which I don't know if you guys have heard a whole lot about that. It was sent back again, which is very frustrating for staff members because we're going to be held to expectations in August for something that hasn't went through yet. So, and that's very typical, right? But it's frustrating. But these 3 individuals, they're proactive. As a district, we may, or may not, because at this point we don't know, need a particular individual or multiple individuals based on a ratio to be certified to essentially train our teachers. And they, because of this grant, they were able to they're doing that on their own. They were proactive in that. I think that they also see a future possibility for them in that, which is great. It just kind of speaks to the type of teachers we have here. I know that Lauren Schober wrote a very nice article. I believe it was in the last Common Communicator. I don't want to quote me on that one. That was specifically about the shift from structured literacy, from whole brain approach of reading to more structured literacy, which is more like the why behind it. Think more like building blocks. But for the last 30, 40 years, it was very much contextual reading. And so we're trying to find that good balance here. Anytime someone swings hard one way or the other, I usually try to find that middle ground. And our teachers are doing that with the leadership of Brendan and Amy. Obviously, they're tackling that with Bishop. That's where we're at from curriculum.
I have a question, came up a couple times with some of the levy information that's gone out. Our grade card, so the school state grade card, is there anything structurally based on our financial situation that limits how high we could score? Like, does it impact us that we don't have AP classes? Thank you. Is there limitations that are, like, are we scoring lower based on a ceiling that we have that a district financially in better grade shape wouldn't have, that would advantage them in a scorecard?
I think that's an interesting question because the state would tell you no. But I also believe in opportunities, and different opportunities allow for growth. And so financially, we're hindered at some points because of the opportunities that we can and cannot provide. So I would argue yes, but the state would argue no.
Well, there's one, and it's alluding right now, there's one section that's been modified, but it still was, and there was, I can't think what that section is now, but there was a broad spectrum that makes it went into that section. And as you mentioned, schools that had AP classes that had an international baccalaureate, which is another honors advanced.
It's the one, yeah, it's a.
You got a higher percentage or more points based on those things that you have, those opportunities along those lines. So the answer would be yes. I mean, some of those might have been, philosophical choices for some districts, because not all of them have it, but the more you have the higher score is going to be in that particular section, and I think that after we're done here. But yes, so there is definitely a connection to that.
Like, not having AP courses at Genoa has always been a financial decision.
Yeah, it has been, and interest, and see, that's where we talk about the legislator and sometimes ODE being out of touch, because with CCP, with the College Credit Plus, why should I take AP and maybe get a passing grade of 4 or 5 on it? I can take a course at Toledo, no offense, and get a C or even a D and still get the college credit. Right. So
yeah, but I think that the disadvantage we have would be, like, it's virtually impossible for a Genoa student to go to Yale, Dartmouth. Like, you're not going to compare, if I'm not mistaken, on entering in those without those AP courses. It's going to put you at a deficit in a prestigious university.
Well, allegedly, what I'm hearing, and maybe Tom can address this, what we're hearing more and more is that the colleges are now moving to this holistic view, meaning now that ACT or SAT doesn't carry as much weight. And maybe all your coursework, advanced coursework doesn't carry. It's all, what they're saying is it's all kind of blended together, and we're trying to look at the whole person. Now, does that extend to Ivy League? I don't know. But that's what we're being told, BGSU, Toledo, ones where most of our kids go. So, and I think that has something to do with the fact that partly it has to do something with the fact that the legislature has backed off the ACT requirement for all juniors. I mean, we still have to drag it out for a couple more years, but they've backed off that now. So I think that has something to do with it too. But.
And for sure, and I'm just thinking this out loud, sorry, anyone else can pop in and say, yeah, or no. We have to identify gifted, like that's a state requirement for identification. But we don't have to serve gifted. However, by not serving, you take a hit on the grade card.
Right.
So that's an example.
We
Yeah.
don't have a gifted program in the elementary, and we
Mhm.
don't have a gifted program in the middle school, correct?
Correct. There's an advanced course or two, Kevin, correct, in eighth.
Yeah, I think you get high school credit.
Alfred one in
for
eighth
math.
grade is
Yeah.
considered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
Something wild.
limited to one subject, one,
Mhm.
yeah, so, okay. So basically, your argument would be, we have these gifted students identified, and for them to be,
There is a hoop for our teachers.
if you work on a strength, the strength gets stronger, but if you don't work on it, it doesn't.
Mhm.
So, yeah, okay.
And it is, and just to speak to what our teachers who have to do a yearly update of credits in order to be certified to be a gifted teacher. It's abrasive, honestly, of the requirements to do. And I know there's some who've taken that challenge, but very few have because of it is a yearly, I think it's 18 credits.
Most
Yes,
districts
yeah.
are paying someone to do that work though, right? There's a gifted program that has gifted, not gifted instructor, you're all gifted, but
We had one in the
instructors,
past. We've
yeah.
had one in the past.
Yeah. We had one at my elementary. Okay.
I think there's no current financial incentive for someone to do that now.
We
Well,
have, we
there's-
have one certified gifted teacher at the elementary.
But we don't have we don't have a gifted position. We
No.
don't have gifted positions, which is,
Amber.
would be the norm in
So,
many
She's been
districts.
working on
Oh, we're, okay, that's fine.
I think she was there at one point.
Not all districts, a lot of them are in the same boat that we are, because you have to have staff that's interested and motivated, but I think that's all part of the thing, it's, all part of the program. If you have a program, I think you get more people that are interested, you need more people that be interested to have that program. So, and as Cody said, it's somewhat prohibitive from a time standpoint when you have to get 18 hours, every year.
18 college credit hours?
No, it's,
Yeah,
No,
it's that or have a master's in with a gifted license.
Okay.
Those are your two options. And so we have one teacher in elementary who has a gifted licensure.
Do we provide a reimbursement to maintain someone's status, at least cover their expenses?
well, there is a pool of money for college credits that the student, as staff takes through the course of the year. So I don't think it doesn't cover everything, I don't think.
Was it 20,000?
This year it is only, it's been 10.
Because we gave the 10 back, because Astor's money came in.
It's been 10 for about a dozen or more years.
Yeah.
We started out at 8, then we went to 20 for a while, back down to 10.
How do you split it up?
It goes by semester, so we have from January 1st to the end of July, end of June is the spring semester, and then anything that ends in July 1st to the end of December is the fall semester.
No, I mean, how do you decide who gets it?
It's equal share up to 100% tuition. So when
So
let's say
how
I have
many people take it?
It depends, exactly. We have always used every single cent of it within like 5 cents, with the exception of 1 year.
Okay.
Usually anything that's not used in the fall, we carry over to the spring. One spring, it was a slow year, it was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, we gave back about $3,800 out of the 10 that we had for
So you said we're budgeted 20,000 a year?
just this
10.
year.
10.
It's been 10 for at least the last dozen years or so. We were at 20 for
We took it away last
10
year,
years, maybe 5
and
years.
when the Esser's money came back in, because we lost $120,000 from the state budget in the initial COVID shutdown. When we got the money from Esser's, we negotiated back that we made them whole by giving them the 10 back.
And we used our complete half for the first half of the
You
year.
used all 10
We
back.
all, we,
Okay.
to the penny,
Okay.
to the penny. And, but last year we did
Angie,
have,
we all knew you would.
I'm in charge of
I
it.
know.
But we had a lot of people last year that were already approved for it, for eligibility that ended up losing out, so.
And the way I think about that I don't want to truly call that an incentive either. Like, if you're covering just for the cost of the class, you truly have to be self-motivated in order to do that every
Yeah.
single year.
But you can use that for any course needed, so if I'm going to get my master's, if I'm going.
It can be, according to contract, it can be used for any courses you take for renewal or for an additional area of licensure and education.
Is this something we look at if 11 passes, I mean, at a later date?
I would think this would be,
I would say,
I'm not looking to spend money, but this seems
Yeah.
like an opportunity to do the right thing.
the problem, I mean, just Jeff's view, the problem we have is when the levy passes, we just stay whole.
Yeah.
We don't, this levy isn't creating, we're not getting ahead, there's no surplus, we're just staying whole. We'll probably see a little bit of an uptick on our balance for a few years, and then it just does what we did this time, and we'll drop in 5, 6, 7 years. So we have to be, as much as we don't want to be, we have to be a conservative district when it comes to spending. Like, I want AP classes here. I think it's a miss. I want gifted classes here. I think it's a huge miss. I want another FFA instructor. It's a big miss. But we have, like, our budget issue will be the same issue after we pass the levy, just pushed out 5, 6 years.
Yeah.
7 if Bill does more.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, grants and all that
We
stuff.
will still have the originally, I would assume the originally agreed in the contract, 10,000 that we had before.
Yeah.
For the next year, pending negotiations and such as well, but I mean, we've suspended it last year.
That's a union negotiated item that.
Yeah, it's part of the contract.
Bill, could you, on your next, well, one of you, your superintendent meeting or your treasurer meeting, like, how many of the districts in our area pay a gift, like, have a gifted staff?
Yeah, I can ask.
Just
I
interested.
wish I would have known that. I was just on,
Yeah,
just on a Zoom with 20
I know.
this morning.
Should have thought of that yesterday at the
Yeah.
finance meeting, that's my fault. I was just really interested into that, because I think.
Great question for this morning,
I really think that, like, a school that has some of those things in place is going to be at an advantage into that scorecard that we're just financially correct. There is a financial impact to the scorecard, and it's not a staffing issue, it's not a talent issue here. I think we serve our special ed students very well in the district, but we ignore the other half of that equation on the gifted side, so.
Well, no, too, we will attract some students with those types of programs. I mean, it won't be a
We
lot.
retain, you probably retain more than you attract, because we lose,
You get kids that don't go because we haven't.
we lose kids for that reason.
So Susie Cappuccini,
Pepsi.
she is who helps us with our gifted testing, and she's from North Point. So she kind of does that through a lot of different schools. But she talked all the time about the awkward phone calls she has with parents.
When you're,
Your
Hey,
kid is identified, but we don't have anything here.
And we
Look,
had several
it's
teachers
tough.
interested, but because there's no way to do that,
Yeah.
they haven't pursued it.
thank you. Sorry for the distraction and my questions.
No, I try to educate myself and ask as many questions as I can without slowing down the meeting, so.
And sometimes it's worth it, though. I'd rather ask and, so. All right, so Dave's not here. Anything on transportation, Kevin, we're good? I want to just say, I know we're not good, but I appreciate as a school board member, it's not bus 7 every week, so. Yeah, it's bouncing around, bus 12, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate
I
that.
didn't have to know if they changed it, I quit getting phone calls about it, something like
Yeah,
that. They must
yeah.
have rotated what bus route
Yeah.
got shifted.
So, yeah, thank you. Angie, how is that here? Did you have anything?
Nothing that she shared with me to share, other than, staff is very active in working with the levy and taking part in, across the board, across the buildings. Working hard.
Awesome, thank you. Susie, your updates from the office?
I love the kids.
Excellent.
Cody's smiling face every day popping in is like the highlight some days.
Oh, gosh.
I'm gonna put that on my-
Okay, Gracie, talk real quick.
Sure.
She's the president, so I can say this year. I have our banquet invites, and I'd like to invite Mr. Nye and all the board members and Mr. Ferguson to our upcoming banquet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I was about to say kudos to all of our
Yep.
kids getting their degrees.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
I'll teach you how to use that.
Oh, I know how to use that. Not that old.
I just want to say, I get to speak to WTOL, and I'm going to reference our FFA. I'm going to reference a lot of places where we do great work, but we're underfunded, and there's going to be costs to that underfunding. But the FFA is going to be one of those talking points. Now, whether they take the interview and put it on TV or just 12 seconds of it, I don't know, but that's going to be part of it. We're pretty proud of the program and what you guys have done, so.
Did he reach out to you?
Was that?
Did he reach out to you? June?
Yeah, no, he comes back, his week is Monday, or Wednesday through Sunday, so
Okay.
we're gonna talk tomorrow.
He said he hadn't heard from you, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give him his number then because I don't wanna.
Yeah, I talked to him, yep. But I don't know if there's anything else with this building staff, or when we talk about this, I am gonna reference, so the topic is the delay of the potential election based on the primary delays, based on the fact that the state can't get the new maps to pass the Supreme Court in the referendum that the Ohio citizens passed, and the impact on us. And I'm really going to talk about the stress of longevity if you push the election, the fact that we'll probably start losing potentially RIF staff because they're going to have a job next year, so they're not going to wait around to find out. And then I really want to reference the fact that this is very similar to the situation we're in. Our funding was found to be unconstitutional 20 years ago, and they couldn't take action on that. So why wouldn't they not take action on this? It's pretty. The court has told them twice 2 things they have to do, and they can't get it done. One's 20-some years old, and one's a year old. But that's kind of the place. Is there anything else you guys would like mentioned or focus on?
Well, just a quick question, so if they do push that back, just so I have my facts straight, does that mean everything's getting pushed back, or will we still have a vote?
Potentially they may do a special election only in August, only for it could be all of it, or it could just be the elected primary. So
So it could be
we'll know more.
all of it?
Yeah, it could be all of it, it could be just the primaries. But either way, they haven't sent out the ballots, which have to go to the military.
They already missed the date,
Okay.
It's supposed to be last Friday.
Yeah,
so it should have been last Friday if you're in the military to get your
they haven't got it.
So-
And the federal government won't budge on that. They
which
have to
tells
have
us it's probably gonna get.
it pushed.
So you think the money's gonna get pushed?
Yeah, so if we have a service member that lives in our district, they have to receive that ballot. But I can't remember exactly the number of days before the election, but they haven't sent it.
It
So,
says it started March 18th, it was overseas.
yeah, so,
They did that, it's sad.
yeah, the
Yeah.
Pentagon.
Yeah, I was
said
making
no.
a statement.
Yeah. Anything else from the public? I missed you, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Just to follow up, Jeff, with something you said, I have a couple things, but you said we service our sped very well. I would say we service them appropriately instead, maybe very well.
You're probably right. Well, I think the staff does an amazing job. We do.
I would wholeheartedly agree with that.
I would just say it's mandated that we service that group.
Yes.
It's not mandated we service the other group, so we.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
and
don't
again,
think we have a lot, we don't have fluff within
Yeah,
our
no.
department at all.
I would also
very-
say we also aren't budgeted to do what we do, but we have to do it,
Correct.
so.
Yeah, that's a good
mm,
Last month, I just shared that we were having a community developmental screening, and we had 11 signed up, and we had 10 go through that. We held that in the complex. It went very well. We anticipate we would have that again next year. We will have that in the fall, though, instead of the spring. Just a shout out to my staff. Normally, spring is our busy time. It starts here in March and goes into April, but it has been pushed back, and so February was madness for us. So my staff has just, once again, done a phenomenal job throughout this year, and just so proud to have them on our department and in all the buildings. So they're great.
I have a question, Lauren. So the group that came in, are those like incoming possibly kindergartners next year? So you're kind of getting a feel for what we've got coming down the pike? Or-
Yeah, so it was kind of a mixture. We collaborated with early intervention to do this. So early intervention worked with the birth to 2-year-olds, so they saw 2 to 3 kids come through theirs. So we worked with anyone 3 to 5. So we did have a couple that were planned to transition to kindergarten. I think 3 of them were, 3 out of those 11. But other than that, the others would be of preschool age.
That's it?
Oh, I'm sorry, I did have one other thing. I didn't write it down.
Not it.
Last week, during one of our beautiful days, I had the pleasure of meeting with Susie and Mike and then Bill and Tiffany Hampshire, who is our North Point preschool supervisor. And we went over new preschool licensure requirements. Licensure has changed for preschool and servicing kids. And it's not ideal for little districts like ours. So just
Surprise.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So we have an integrated classroom right now is what ours is called, a 50-50 model. We have to maintain that ratio. And the state is saying there are different classroom types and you have to offer a continuum to all students, but these different classroom types come with different requirements, different numbers of kids. Some require more than one teacher to be in that classroom to instruct. So it's kind of a numbers game. So I'm just bringing awareness to you about this. And we had some questions for Tiffany. She was going to follow up with some of the support people that she works with. But yeah, curious to see. I'm curious to see how BCS handles this type of classroom type for next year. They're also supervised by North Point, Lakota, Oregon. Oregon's a little bit bigger, so they'll probably be in a different boat, but I guess more to come, so.
Sounds expensive.
I did fill out a survey though. I was asked our feedback in regards to it and the potential ramifications for this. What they do with that information, I'm not sure.
I'd love to have that feedback, so if I talk to one of our state representatives, I can just say what you say.
John Ruff met with us as well, and just encouraging more than just little special ed directors, to kind of voice concerns just about the financial ramifications.
So I don't want to talk out of line, but correct me if I'm wrong with this. What's happening currently is we have one teacher in the room,
Yes.
and they're basically telling us that we need to have
She's dual
two
license.
She's
teachers.
dual license, so gen ed license and a special ed license, and that
So
is servicing our.
additional staff for the same,
So same courses, so a class that costs us 60,000 is gonna probably be 98?
well, it's gonna be another teacher,
Gonna be
so
double.
60 to
Double.
20.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
because she can't.
Double.
Is my understanding, right? They're looking
Teachers.
for.
Depending on your classroom type,
I
depending
think
on
it's
your
important,
numbers,
like, they're
depending on
probably
your
right,
budget.
that's probably the right ratio in the classroom. It's just, where are we supposed to come up with? We're doubling our preschool budget.
Yeah. And preschool's an expensive
Yeah.
item now.
And we have three classes, right?
Three
Today?
sections currently.
Thank you. Bill? Oh, anything online?
Okay, first thing is the monthly general fund financials, actual compared to budget for the month of February, 2/3 of the way through the fiscal year. This statement, due to timing, also due to state adjusting, is somewhat in disarray, to put it mildly, basically. First line in the revenue section, real estate taxes, we received our initial advance. So really, yeah, we're 400,000 above what I assumed we would get in just in advance. This will clear itself out in March, so it will not stay anywhere close to being 400 and some odd thousand to the good. I do believe it will be positive, but not that much. So that's the first line item that's making things look a little bit wacky at this point. And of course, I've talked to you about this previously, the foundation line, the state is continuing to adjust back the money that they provided us additionally by error. So they took a little over 32,000 this month. I looked at February, I think February's up in the $55,000 range, and they'll just continue to take money back from us. So that's gonna essentially make our statements look a little weird for basically the rest of the year, fiscal year. Right now, we're just under $500,000 to the good foundation line. We were supposed to receive $85,000 additional this year. Yeah, that's skewing a lot of things. So looking at the revenue section, right now, we're just under $1 million favorable, which, like I said, is going to change. Expenditure section is a little bit more closely related to what the budget should look like. Expenditure-wise, purchase services, we did get adjustments, additional, or actually up-to-date Wood County invoices. So that brought up a negative variance for the month. We were still positive for the year-to-date. We just received another invoicing from Woodmore that will go into March for our shared services. So that will get things a little bit more in order as we move along. As you see, we're about 207,000 to the good in the expenditure section. And I think that's a little bit off, but it's a better representation of where I believe we should be. Overall cash balance, almost 1.15 million above what I thought, which, like I said, is way off because of the real estate tax advance, because of the foundation. If you look down at the bottom on the paper I provided you, we are supposed to deficit spend this year. With the trend and trying to adjust to what I believe we're going to be at, I still think we're going to do some deficit spending, but not nearly as much as what I originally budgeted. Right now, don't quote me on this because this could change, kind of like the weather in Ohio. I have it at a little over 222,000 of a deficit spend this year. So that's kind of where we're at this point through February, 2/3 of the year. Any questions on anything in the revenue section, expenditure section, or just in general? Okay. All right. We do have a few items for board consideration, board approval consideration. The first item, just to give you a little bit of a background, we did receive as a district $180,000 of grant dollars for buses, four buses. They gave us $45,000 for each bus. A bus these days costs anywhere between $80,000 and $90,000, so it's about a 50% off sale, basically. Unfortunately, the buses do not come with drivers. I couldn't get that to put that into this, but so we are looking to secure additional new buses. With that, I need to have the board approve a resolution so we can receive bids and make the purchases for those buses. So that's what this resolution is, basically. So any questions on the bus bids? Like I said, 4 buses, $45,000 each we received from the state.
What's our oldest bus on the road?
99?
We have some or spares that are 99, 2001 or 2.
Probably 2003 on a regular basis, do you think?
There's a couple.
I want to be classic.
Yeah.
We're trying to get rid of them. We're trying, we're doing our best to try to get rid of those, so we,
You just need the resolutions also so you can receive bids, right?
yeah, receive bids and also to make the purchase of the bus. Yeah, so.
How many are you looking to buy?
4.
4, so we
I
have.
wanna
finance.
utilize all the money that we have,
Yeah,
so.
and then we'll just finance the.
I would like, I hate to finance things, so I'm still trying to figure that out. It could be an advance of monies to the permanent improvement fund from the general fund. I think we can afford a couple of them, but I don't think we can afford all 4 at this point. So we'll have to see how that all can.
So then will we sell any of the?
Yeah, we will look to sell them. Unfortunately, the last couple we did sell, you get $3,000 or that out of them. Usually that pays for, when we get security, we've gotten security cameras in our last couple buses, and that basically pays for the majority of that. So that's what we've done. So, any other questions on this?
So moved.
Oh, thank you.
Second.
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Yes.
Mrs. Routson.
Yes.
Mr. Travers.
Yes.
And Mr. Trainer.
Yes.
Next item is the internet service that we have at our district. This is for monthly internet, monthly fiber, annual internet, and so forth. This does go out to bid through our E-rate system. And we had NOECA, which is our, what do you call them?
ITC.
Our ITC. We are with them currently. We went out to bid and it came back that we would like to stay with them for another 5-year period. Previously, we had a 300 megabytes per second line. And that cost us $31,320. We are going up to 500 megabytes per second, just because, probably because we have all.
What's the reason, Tom? More
Just more
devices?
Yep, just need a little more bandwidth.
So it is gonna cost us, instead of $31,320, it's gonna go up to $34,200, but we are getting a lot more bandwidth, like Tom says, so.
And we have the ability in this contract to upgrade if needed. I think up to a gig, but we'll be good with 500 for now.
Any questions on this contract or agreement?
Does this money come out of our tech levy, or is this
No, this comes out of general fund.
general fund?
And we do get, through E-rate, it is we get a 60% discount. So we pay the $34,000 and we get 60% back through this E-rate program.
Nice. Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Yes.
Mrs. Routson.
Yes.
Mr. Travers.
Yes.
And Mr. Trainer.
Yes.
Okay, the next item's 2021 spring OHSAA transfers. We had sectional baseball and district softball on our campus. At the time, I usually get all transfers taken care of at the end of the fiscal year. Unfortunately, at the time, OHSAA, we didn't have everything reconciled, so it did go into this fiscal year. I did since make the transfers. It didn't take this long, but I just need to have, anytime there's a transfer between funds, I just need to have board approval.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Yes.
Mrs. Routson.
Yes.
Mr. Trevor,
Yes.
and Mr. Trainer.
Yes.
Okay, next item is a maintenance agreement for our elementary generator. It is a Cummins generator we have out there. Mr. Klisick, our maintenance supervisor, requested that we have this serviced. He's asking for a 5-year contract for a little less than $3,000 in total. Any questions on this one?
Is this quote still good?
I was just gonna ask you that. You see
It
the date
is.
on it?
Yeah, he has since discussed this with them. Everything still is okay. We can get another one for you if you like.
I would prefer that.
Okay.
honestly.
Do you want me to bring it back to you?
I think we should go back.
Okay.
Table it.
Can we approve it at this amount? As long as the quote's.
Yeah, I mean, if it stays the same, I don't care what the
Yeah.
date is, if the price is the same.
Yeah, okay.
I just wouldn't approve it for higher than this.
Yeah.
I'll just put it into the notes that, or into the minutes that will approve for $2,936.12.
There you go.
Motion to approve for $2,936.12.
Second.
Mr. D'Amelio,
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Yes.
Mrs. Routson,
Yes.
Good catch.
Mr. Trevor,
Yes.
and Mr. Trainer, bless you. Okay, the last item I have is an building automation system proposal. Right now, the middle school, high school, the dampers and the air conditioning unit and so forth is running on a system, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, it's on a Windows 98. It's running on a Windows 98 system at this point. It's original to the middle school. We have been putting slowly,
How old is the middle school group?
what is it, 2001? So 20, a little over 20 years old. So we've been looking at upgrading this, updating it. For a while, we actually have been starting to put money aside for it. However, we do have some ESSER's money that can go directly to these kind of HVAC upgrades. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to probably repurpose the money that we did have to something else. I'm sure we can find something to do it, to do. But this basically, what will happen is this automated logic is also already out at the elementary. So we're going to implement automated logic at the middle school, high school, and then we're actually going to update at the elementary, and then we'll have our systems fully through the whole buildings on automated logic. We did get 2 quotes, and we asked for a 3rd quote. The other quote was from Wadsworth, which is currently over at the at the middle school, high school. And then Gardner did not want to provide. They said they were going to, and they decided not to provide us a proposal. So basically, we would like to move in the direction of automated logic, so we can have it at the buildings, update, upgrade, and get things updated. Any questions on this? One thing I didn't believe I gave you, I did find a $15,000 Bureau of Workers' Comp grant. I sent in this proposal asking if this proposal would work with this grant, and they did confirm it. So we will be getting that grant also, on top of the ESSER's dollars.
I was on the facilities committee when I started on the board 5-6 years ago, feels like forever, 5 years ago. And this project was probably 3 years old then, and we were talking about how old the software was and how this was going to have to happen. And we started putting the money away. But when ESSER's came out, that was the first thing I thought of, because it's a huge cost that we can use that money for, and there's limitations on that, and this is one of the things that you can use it for. So this has been, Bill has been saving for this, like he said, he's got 40,000 put away for this project, because we know this is a big spend that's been in the books for quite some time. So I think this is a smart decision by Bill and the facilities team and Mike to do this now while we have the ESSER's money to use it. It's clean. And then it allows us to use that 40,000 on things that ESSER's would not qualify for. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think Tom brought up, in fall, the bell system needs
Yeah, the
updated too,
PA
so
system.
I think that 40,000 will be well utilized elsewhere for larger things.
And I think we need to move quickly too, because if you want to have it done over the summer, we probably need to move last month.
Yeah.
What's the total cost estimate on this?
This proposal, $141,217. And that will get an update at the elementary and also the upgrade at the middle school, high school.
And then what's the annual maintenance?
I don't know of any annual maintenance.
It should just be on a maintenance agreement so that we're not in the same boat we are today.
Well, it's not, this is the
This is-
operating system
Yeah.
I know
versus
that
the,
every piece of software that we have at work is under a maintenance agreement.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we don't. So that, in 5 years now, when this operating system becomes end of life, we're not looking at this, redoing the whole system.
I mean, we could have that discussion. I don't know what they even have available.
Yeah, I think we should discuss that at maintenance
Okay.
with Dan. This is not a software upgrade. This is a hardware upgrade.
Yeah, but you're running on a Windows Server 98, which is.
The computer is just the interface. If the computer went down, Mr. Klisick would not be able to adjust anything. So that's the urgency of it. Most of this upgrade is for the hardware. As far as a software agreement to keep the software up to date, I have a different opinion with you, I guess, on that. But I think maintenance would be a good place to discuss whether there's a maintenance agreement that could be possible here.
And we certainly can look into that. Any other questions on the proposal or the system?
and this ties, all buildings will be tied to the same system, so now we're using one system for all buildings.
Correct, and that's what
This
we're.
one too, or not?
Not this one, no. That's what we were trying to do, and we could have gone the other way, Wadsworth, but then we would probably had to do, it probably cost in the long run more because, we wouldn't have that over here,
This
whereas.
is the newer system.
Whereas automated logic, we already have over here, we're just plugging it in here,
Okay.
So if we would just have updated, it would have cost probably more to go that way. And Dan, Mr. Klisick, he liked automated logic better. I'm not sure exactly what he saw better than Wadsworth, but this was his choice even so it kind of worked out both ways.
Cheaper and choice.
Not very cheap, but, so. All right, any other questions?
You'll let us know on the maintenance agreement if that's.
Yeah, we actually have a maintenance committee meeting, we have, 2 of those a year, and the next one is actually next week. So it's right on our doorstep.
Who's on maintenance?
Oh, be down.
Just kidding.
Right now, it's Trevor, well, be down with the Melio.
Yeah, I think that makes good sense. We're gonna note that, right? Congratulations.
Thank you, Dom.
So you will be part of that decision. Thank you.
We need a motion to.
Motion to
I do need a
Second,
motion.
second, second.
Mr. Traver, motion, and Mrs. Lewis, second. Mr. D'Amelio,
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Yes.
Mrs. Robinson,
Yes.
Mr. Traver,
Yes, sir.
and Mr. Trainer.
Yes.
All right. I do have one quick thing to to go over with you. I thought I was gonna have to do this officially tonight, but I wanted to go over the rehire process. We're potentially having a rehire coming our way. There's timing between the approval of a retirement and then the approval of rehire coming back. There's public notice needs to go in the newspaper at a certain time. You have to have a public meeting that I take care of. It doesn't involve necessarily any of the board members unless you want to be. That you just have a public meeting that people can come in and talk about the individual that we're looking to rehire. And then, depending on when our board meetings line up, like this one, if we would have done it this board meeting, we would have had to have a special board meeting to actually approve the rehire. So I kind of wanted to give you an idea that this is potentially coming down the road, and don't be caught off guard that we may have to have a special meeting coming up at some point, should a rehire occur.
Could we, I was gonna ask if we could we do it, a special meeting prior to a regular board meeting? 'Cause I know tentatively we have, like you said, the May 17th.
It depends on the timing. You have to have, like I said, 60 days after the retirement for the rehire. There has to be a public forum in between, and it gets a little bit tricky. And like I said, if we would have approved the retirement tonight, we wouldn't have been able to. There have been times when you are able to piggyback it and even have it at the regular meeting. But unfortunately, how things land, it didn't. So I just wanted to make you aware that this has a potential of happening.
If you believe, if we extended from, like now you're limited to 3 years, correct?
Yes.
If we extended that, would we have more people interested? Because the savings, like for this potential one, would be about $25,000 a year.
Yeah, give or take, yes.
So, if you could get additional people to do it, if they're eligible, does that make sense? Does that limitation?
And do you think that would help or not?
I don't know that we have that many that are that close to retirement.
Okay.
We're a pretty young staff. I mean, I'm looking at it in the possibility in the next couple of years, but that's because I'm choosing to not take my full retirement when I leave. So you're looking at.
There's a handful.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's
it was
There's
really
maybe
none.
like
When-
five to eight that have been here longer than I have.
Yeah.
So I guess my question though is if you could get 4 of them to do it, that's $100,000 potentially. That's one of our staff RIFs.
Well, you do lose the first year because of
Yeah,
salary.
you lose the 7th year.
Right.
Yeah, second, third year, and then after that.
So 70, you know what I'm saying though, like it's substantial.
Correct.
It's
Sure.
substantial.
Sure.
Well, there was a revision, there was a recent revision to SCRS when they eliminated the 60-year age requirement, which brings a number of our teachers closer now, because we have a number of them that he was 60 for 35 years. Well, we have some that are in that age range of 57, 58 that now have 30 or knock on the door at 35, that we're gonna have to wait around for 2 or 3 more years to hit the age 60.
Yeah.
So it does pull a number of our teachers into that realm of possibility.
I'm just asking, does our board policy hinder us in more people being interested?
I don't think we just adjusted it this last time
To make it better, back to what it was before to make it more
Make it-
incentive. Because we were
make
going
it
1 year
more-
at a time before.
Now you can do
Now you can do the
3 years.
Yeah, I just don't, like, if we can save money in this district, we want to save money in this district.
I think, and I don't understand this 100%, but I did meet with STRS already last year, and part of the reason that they told me I could retire now, because I was in a small window where you had to choose if you wanted all of your retirement, the traditional 50-50, or all of it in stock market. So essentially, I could retire now in what I have, because I want 50-50, so what I have in my stock market. I'm not gonna get that additional, I wouldn't have gotten my traditional until at least 60. So I think you're looking at, considering how young a lot of our staff
How
are.
they chose.
Yeah, it's like, and I still would not get my full amount, but that's a choice I'm making.
Okay.
I feel like it's a complicated.
I think it is. I just want to make sure if there's a policy thing that this board could do, we
Something we
probably
can do to help
consider it.
ourselves.
I think like Mike
Yeah.
said, the increase of being able to negotiate to the 3 years additional to stay on for retired hire. We had another stipulation with that as well, and I think the only other thing is, to get severance, you need to be 55.
Yeah,
And-
like
and
if we
take
did, if we
retirement
did
in
a
6
3-year with an option for a 4th, where you come back and ask for the 4th year, if that's something that would get people to do it, I think,
Yeah, it's worth
I would
it's worth
consider
it.
it,
Yeah,
I would
same.
consider talking about it with this board, because it's money back to the district. And I know it's not popular outside of these walls, that's why you have to have a public hearing, that's why, it's not popular, because people
Don't understand
the
it.
people who can't get that in their retirement
Yeah.
don't like it. It just, it's the reality,
Pretty much.
but.
Usually they don't, I mean, since I've been here, I've had, seen multiple people take and ask for 3 years and they don't even make
We've
it.
had
that
some
Yeah,
get
no,
3 years and
no.
leave after 2.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, I think that's way more common
Yeah.
than staying for the 3.
Right.
But I just, again, I don't want to hinder anyone making that choice, because they're like, do I want to stay 3 or 4 years? Like, I'm fine with it.
Especially if you're 57, 58, now the option is what you do.
Yeah. So I don't know how we have that conversation to see if we could entice some people to do it, because it's real savings to the district.
The retired is still savings?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It, like this one we're looking at would be, so you pay out the severance in year 1, so you're even. But in year 2, year 2 and year 3, you're saving $25,000 per year.
And additionally,
Or
we
they're-
go around the
they're-
salary schedule.
Yeah, you basically, let's say, for example, I think she's master's 36 and let's say 30 years.
Can't go any farther. whereas
Can't go any further.
25.
But when she retires and comes back retiring higher, you go the master's 36 in step 5 instead of step 30. So that difference between step 5 and step 30 is substantial.
And benefits as well, correct?
Well, benefits, yeah, you wouldn't be paying as much on STRS and so forth. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, all that.
So
All that
it's a win for the district, win for the employee.
Well, and you have teachers that have taught for 35 years, and that's also a benefit versus, new ones sometimes that are just getting their feet wet, experienced staff.
Okay, that's all I have.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay, we turn to page 9. The board approved those resignations there, retirements. One of note, particularly Brenda Rodarmo is retiring from the elementary. She's been here for,
27
what's that?
About 26,
27 years. Just really appreciate that time that she's put into the district. It's, 26 years seems like a long time, but, when you're in the midst of it, it goes fast. And she's just ready to go, but really appreciate that time and effort. And Rebecca Potter just, recently decided to take a stay-at-home job, and appreciate the time that she's devoted to this district as well.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Yes.
Mrs. Rousey.
Yes.
Mr. Traver.
Yes.
And Mr. Trader.
Yes.
On page 10, need the board to approve employment of those listed as supported personnel, both sections here.
Are we doing anything with this agreement, or is it as info?
That's just info. You gave them the contract.
Yeah, I did provide you the mowing contract. It did go up this year from 5,250 to 5,600. We did add the cross-country loop. And basically, Matt and I sat down, figured out how long it would take, how many times per year, and basically added that to this contract. I did have Wayne in just last week, and he's in agreement with it.
He's been great.
Partner too. He puts a lot more time in the
Right.
motion to approve.
Second?
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Yes.
Mrs. Routson.
Yes.
Mr. Traver.
Yes.
Mr. Trainer.
Yes.
Okay, page 12 now. The board to approve those professional meetings and field trips as,
So I have a quick question, so
We have
last,
no school the 4th and the 5th?
right, that's what I was gonna.
well, just the 4th. The 4th is the professional learning day that we're making up, and then these people, that was one of the days. The 5th, we're just gonna make do. We did administratively, we talked and decided we just, for one day, we can suck up, make do. And we're in a little better place with the teacher substitutions, teacher subs than we were a few months ago.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Yes.
Mrs. Routson.
Yes.
Mr. Traver.
Yes.
And Mr. Trainer.
Yes.
Okay, page 14. The board to approve the volunteers in number 1 there.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Yes.
Mrs. Routson.
Yes.
Mr. Traver.
Yes.
And Mr. Trainer.
Yes.
The board to approve those number 2 there is open enrollments for current students and out of district.
So moved.
Second?
So they're here now.
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks.
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Yes.
Mrs. Routson.
Yes.
Mr. Traver.
Yes.
And Mr. Trainer.
Yes.
Number 3,
Can I ask an open enrollment question? When is the deadline to open enroll as a new student in our district?
we don't have a hard and fast deadline, but we generally cut it off within September, October. That's usually no later than that.
Oh, we had a policy.
We have there's a date out there, but it's, yeah, it's, as far as I know, it's not been adhered to strictly. So, it's, I mean,
For individuals like this, we take
Yeah,
them
where they're already here.
inclusively.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm not sure.
we occasionally will take somebody in those first couple months, but, you know, it's happened. I can't say it, I don't know, couldn't tell you the last time it happened, but it's happened.
If I could just get the date, you can just email it to the board,
Okay.
what the policy actually says.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, number 3, the board to approve the second run of the school calendar for next year.
This is not final, right?
This is final,
This is final.
yes.
Is there any changes
Yeah,
since
this
we
one.
looked at it last?
No. None? No,
And then as soon as we get this out, so.
yes.
Motion.
Second?
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Yes.
Mrs. Routson.
Yes.
Mr. Traver.
Yes.
And Mr. Trainer.
Yes.
Okay, number 4, changes to committees.
Got me.
Sir.
So.
I gave you a copy, I believe I gave you a copy.
Yeah.
I say we just run through it like we do at the original meeting, and then athletic council. We currently have Trevor and Lewis.
Come on, here, thing is not coincide with.
Just saw it in the minutes. First one's athletic, second one's curriculum, third one's finance.
We're looking at
I'm looking at page 5.
Page 5.
not the one that building.
Right, that's the one thing.
I'm just going from our agenda. Sorry. Does that work? Page 5?
Yeah.
So,
It's in the
I don't have that one, so I'm gonna have to do it.
I was like, this is different.
Which one, is there another copy?
All right here.
He gave us
He
one.
gave us one, that's why.
Oh,
We don't
It was
have it.
behind the
Because I gave it
contract.
down.
That's right, you can use whichever, it doesn't matter to me.
Can I get a copy of that real quick?
It should be,
Because Don didn't have, Don didn't have any of our paperwork.
you should have had the whole thing, I gave, it was right at your thing.
What
I
are the
had nothing
different,
to do.
OSBA
It wouldn't be,
legislative.
it wouldn't be in here, I set it aside,
Yeah. Nothing over
when somebody took it.
there. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I put them all out, so I don't know if someone stole it.
I believe you.
Black market.
OSBA legislative liaison is now Mrs. Lewis.
It's still, yeah, but it's got it.
You'd like to stay on it.
Yeah, I just got my form.
Okay. Henna, JBS Board Representative, Mr. Traver.
Sure.
All right. Technology, and if there's something that someone's on, and you want to back up on that one, on Henna?
Yeah, I've yet to receive anything from them, so, I mean, absolutely nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure how often some of these even meet.
Henna
You know?
should be, we should be represented at that, Henna, shouldn't we? I mean, he should be
You
getting,
would think so, I don't know if you receive anything from them, I don't receive anything.
Well, maybe we should reach out.
let's reach out. All right. Technology, Mrs. Routson.
I'd like to be on that if there's an opportunity.
Meeting April 13th.
April 13th.
You the chair?
Me and Christine, yes.
What time, Tom?
We meet like at lunch, so it's an afternoon meeting. So the teachers get a sub for the afternoon. We have 2 teachers from each building as well as the technology teacher from each building. So there's 9 teachers and then Christine and myself and then you guys.
I'll figure it out.
Okay.
Can you send me an invite?
We could Zoom too. We can set that up too if you want to do a Zoom
Yeah.
or a Google Meet.
I work
However.
from home a couple days a week, so we can figure it out.
Yeah, 13th is our next meeting.
Curriculum, Traver and Lewis.
Yep.
Finance, trainer, and it should be VP, right? Is how we've done that?
You can do it any way you, like, as long as it's usually the president for sure, and then whoever short straws it, I guess. for finance.
She volunteered.
You,
I
that's fine.
volunteer.
Doesn't matter.
You can, it's fine. All good.
Ever alive.
That means you gotta be president.
They're all as short as they were last night, Bill, I'll show up anytime.
They usually are not.
I know, that's what I heard.
Some maintenance, Dom.
Yes, sir. As long as Dom's willing.
Yeah, I'll do it.
That is, you actually, you're
That's
going off
perfect
of it?
timing.
You're going off of it? Yeah, Dom, it's next week, it's on the 29th. I just did get an email from Dan Kalisic that he has a closing on his house at 10. We were supposed to start at 9, I'm hoping to start at 8:30 instead of 9 now, just pushed it back. So I'll send out an update for that, but it's supposed to be next, is that Tuesday the 29th?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Dom, if you can't make one of these, all you have to do is put an email out to us or a text out to us and one of us will fill in
Okay.
for that. So like we always want to have 2 for finance, so if I couldn't make it, I would ask Chris here one of you guys to fill in for me.
If you want to do Zoom or something like that, I can have Tom help me,
Okay.
because I have no idea.
Athletic Council, Mr. Traver, Mrs. Lewis.
Yep.
Library Park Board, Mr. Traver. That's a good one.
Yep. Nobody's ever called me about that one.
Stay on that one. Policy, Mr. Trainer, yep. Public Relations, Mr. Trainer, yes. Genoa Area Scholarship Foundation, Mrs. Lewis.
Yep.
Safe Schools Committee, Mrs. Routson. Wellness, Mrs. Lewis, Mrs. Routson.
Yeah, we tied that into, I know we have it listed here, and
It's
Our-
wellness slash,
Family Civic Engagement Team. I would like to get going on that a little bit more. So I know we talked about it a couple months ago. with some of the teachers voicing some mental health concerns.
So it's wellness and mental wellness and.
Right.
Yes, we should pursue that, because that was pretty passionate at that meeting, so.
Mhm.
So who is on the committee, the wellness committee on the staff side? Who owns that?
I think, isn't that Lisa Christian?
Lisa, and probably the nurse.
She has been,
Who else?
the nurse is really the, I
Okay.
think the nurse and Lisa have coordinated that. I remember Joni being,
Okay, I'll get with
Yeah, Sean
Cheryl.
and Lisa Mullen were all the time, but they reduced the number. so-
yeah, I don't know how active that committee has been.
I think somebody just asked Chris Rader to be on it, that's the only reason, it just came up in conversation.
Good,
So
okay.
she may be,
All right, we'll start working on
Business Advisory Council, me,
that. Have you been going to the chamber meetings?
no, I will,
Yeah,
I will be on that. So me, and then if I can't make it, I'll just.
Okay,
round
I
up.
let, what's her name, Megan, know that I was not on it anymore. She did send me the link, we sent minutes, so I'll get them over to you.
So what is the Business Advisory Council?
So the state passed that we have to have a business advisory board. We don't do it officially, how do we?
We do it through North Point ESC. They are part of actually Ottawa County's Business Advisory Council. So they have the latitude of ESCs, you can belong to an ESC Business Advisory Council. So we were already part of, but there's paperwork that goes along with that. They've taken over the paperwork part for districts, the smaller districts.
So that's the official version. So what we do locally is you're going to Chamber of Commerce, Genoa Chamber.
Well, there's also a Business Advisory Council for Ottawa County that we attend that meeting. Well,
You go, don't you?
I go, yes, I go, and Bill Fisher goes, and so we attend that meeting as well.
All right, FFA Advisory Council.
I believe that's a farmer.
Mr.
Farmer,
Dragon.
whatever.
Yep.
And then Levy Advisory, we're all on that.
And this one, on page 5, they spelled Lewis instead of Lewis.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's the next one.
Lewis. All right. Everybody good?
Oh, yeah.
And then the last one there is the levy. Any conversations about the levy?
No, I think we have a meeting next.
Oh, actually, I need
Oh,
I need a motion and approval for this.
sure thing. So moved.
Motion. Second. Chris.
Mr. D'Amelio,
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Yes.
Mrs. Routson,
Yes.
Mr. Trevor,
Yes.
and Mr. Trina.
Yes.
Thank you.
Cody, you head up curriculum.
I believe so. I know we haven't had a curriculum meeting since Karen.
Okay, thanks. All right. Anything else? So we're going to go into executive to discuss the employment.
Go ahead, you finish that.
All right.
Okay. Well, I can answer that real quick. So our board workshop, guys, just kind of give you an
Oh,
update
yeah,
on that. I was trying to get some dates. Potential dates coming up, April 22nd, 28th, 29th. I'm gonna email this out to you guys, we don't have to make a decision tonight, because I gotta get with Bill. May 4th, 9th, 10th, or the 18th through 20th. We would just need like content format, they would get with Mike. I did talk to Don at OSBA, we can do it with other schools, I briefly talked to Bill about it, so we can cut the cost down if we invite people, we are allowed to do that.
So they put it on, the
Right.
OSBA puts it on, and then we can invite other districts in and then impose our cost. I think it'd be great, I think it's a great potential to learn from other school boards, which would be fabulous.
Good to know from OSBA, so if you have any questions, or we could talk.
I think Mike and I, and maybe you should get together and make sure we understand what we're
Sure.
working
Can we
on.
do it here?
Mhm.
Or if it's bigger?
Mhm. So, yeah.
Cool.
Definitely need to do that.
Studio make cookies.
Perfect.
All right, So we're going to go into executive to discuss the employment. Let's say employment of a public employee or official, and there will be no action after.
Motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Mr. Demirio.
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Yes.
Mrs. Rousey.
Yes.
Mr. Travers.
Yes.
And Mr. Trainer.
Yes.
It's 7:44.